On another front, you've got some detail on the government's response on the religious freedom legislation. The draft has been out there for consultation, and well, the religious communities have wanted the government to go further in certain areas, but they're not.
That's absolutely right. So there is a push on from religious leaders for the Attorney-General Christian Porter to go even harder on religious freedoms, and it's one Mr Porter is resisting. The eventual bill that we're going to see is expected to be close to the current draft as the government looks to deal with issues like the Israel-Folau case and fulfil a promise from the former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull to legislate on religious freedom. Now, in the Anglican submission to government, which I believe is reflected by other religious leaders, if we can look at that, it says it is also important that businesses such as medical practices or law firms retain the ability to maintain their ethos by preferring employees who share their faith, not just in respect to leadership roles, but across the entire organisation. So it would allow, the Anglicans want the law firms and medical practices, corporates, to be able to discriminate, if you like, on the grounds of religion. Now, Christian Porter's, I put this to him and he's reacted to this. He said, if we can look at that, enabling religious schools, hospitals and aged care centres to preference people from their own faith when making employment decisions is a sensible measure. For example, an Islamic school would be able to advertise for a Muslim teacher, Anglican hospital for an Anglican chaplain. But the government does not support extending the same rights to private commercial organisations such as law firms and doctor surgeries, as some faith groups have advocated. He says this would be a retrograde step that could see a return to the bad old days when young lawyers and other professionals were awarded opportunities on the basis of their religion rather than their ability. He's saying it would be 1950s professional sectarianism in corporate Australia. Now, I've been back to the Anglicans on this, and the spokesman for the Archbishop, Glenn Davies, if we can look at that, Russell Powell, says, "We welcome protection for people of faith in the workplace. However, our concern has been the bill appears top-heavy in parts," and he blames this because of a lot of the media discussion around the Folau case. And his argument is that the bill allows senior employees to be hired on the basis of faith, but not junior ones. It looks like a really rocky road ahead here, Kieran, in terms of the government getting this bill through when they can't even get the religious leaders on side.